My wife and I don't have any plaques on the wall, but if we were going to be declared experts in any one thing, we might say, well, probably moving from one house to another might qualify us because we've lived in 24 homes in 44 years of marriage. We lived on 3 continents. We lived in 5 states in 3 countries. We have moved a lot. And so getting stuff packed up, ready to go, getting all the details squared away, we realize it's frustrating, it's time consuming, it induces a lot of emotion. And today you may be among the people who have been moving to Florida in droves. Do you realize that for the last 2 years, over 1,000 people a day have been moving into this state? If you're one of them, I want to offer you 8 tips that will help you as you consider making your move to Florida. The first step you need to take is that of proactivity. You need to put yourself in a position to win. Are you in a position to move? By that I mean, is your house for sale? Do you have your old house, the one that you're going to sell, the one that you're going to move out of? Is it cleaned out? Is it painted? Are the repairs made? Do you have the holes patched in the wall? Are your family pictures off the wall? Buyers don't want to see your family. They want to imagine their family photos being on your home's wall. Get rid of it. Put yourself in a position to move. Do you have a mortgage lender that's set up, waiting for you down there? Do you have a realtor that's working with you to sell your home in the place that you are now? A good realtor will help you get a fair market value, which is critically important. Do not be deceived by the FSBO, for sale by owner. Many people think, oh, I'll sell the house by myself and I won't have to pay any commission. Understand this, oftentimes 8 to 10% lower is the sale price of the FSBO, the guy who sells it on his own, as opposed to if he'd given it to a professional realtor. Realtors can help you find the fair market value, give you the most for your home that you're selling, because that gives you the most dollars in your pocket when you get down here to work with a second realtor. The realtor down on your receiving end here in Florida is someone that's going to be able to set you up with what's called an MLS drip. That drip means that they can take your criteria. How many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? How many thousands of dollars do you want to spend on a house? Do you want a community pool? Do you want a private pool? Do you want a gated community or not? Whatever criteria you give, that realtor down here can set you up on the MLS, and your email will receive the current inventory of homes that are on the market. So important that you put yourself in a position to move. Get a realtor up there, get a realtor down here, have a mortgage lender waiting for you here. Get someone that can put you in a position to win. Step number 2 is to be very, very certain of the why behind your buy. Why are you moving to Florida? Is it because you're on a whim? You've worked for the last 25 or 30 years and you've always dreamed of moving to Florida so you can get on the boat and fish every day. You've dreamed of moving to Florida so you can lay on the beach every day. You've dreamed of moving to Florida so you can golf every day. Well, that's going to last for a while and it's going to be great, but it's not going to last you for the rest of your life. And so what is the reason for you moving? Many people move because of the weather. That's great. Many people move because of the tax breaks. That's great. But why are you moving? Let me ask you to consider this. How many people are moving with you? If there's any other one person or more moving with you, please consider their opinion as being important, because if you do not, you'll probably be dealing with conflict sooner than you think once you get on this end if their opinion is not taken into consideration. Why are you moving? Know the why behind your buy. Step number 2. So be proactive. Put yourself in a position to win. Number 2, know the why behind your buy. And number 3, pick a price point. Don't worry about what your parents had to spend. Don't worry about your uncle. Don't worry about your siblings. This is all about you. This is not a time to play catch up with the Joneses or keep up appearances. You need to know how much you can afford to live on. Pick that price point. And then I want to encourage you, pick a realtor that you can trust. They'll set you up on an MLS drip page. That MLS drip page will help you by knowing the criteria. Do you want 2 bedrooms or 3? Do you want 2 bathrooms or 3? they'll help you, and they'll find the inventory within your price range, and then you can stick with it. It's important that you know the cost of living. It's not just the price per square foot of a house, it's how much the living expenses are. It's a lot more expensive to live in Miami than it is in Ocala. The price of insurance for homeowners is going to be more in a big city like Fort Lauderdale than it is in Mayaca, because you're right on the coast and the hurricanes are going to whack you there. So that's all taken in consideration in cost of living. Know your price point, know your cost of living. If you're moving here because of tax benefits, then obviously the tax benefits are going to be universal statewide. But cost of living is going to change. So know your market, know your area, realize that there's about 9 hours drive from Miami up to Tallahassee. There's about a 7-hour drive from Naples up to Jacksonville. It's a huge landmass. You get differences of real estate, and real estate is hyper local. That means that where you are is unique to that particular real estate cost. Know what that cost is. Get someone that's a professional to help you with that. Know your price range and stick with it. Step number 4, research through planned visits, and keep the visits as long as they can possibly be. You're going to have to taste it, touch it, smell it, and feel it. You're going to have to experience it to really know it. No realtor can explain to you as well as you can see it for yourself. Know what you're getting into. You've got to research. And if you have children especially, let me give you 2 researching tools that are the best that I've ever found. One is called niche.com, niche.com, niche.com. And the other that's great for researching schools is greatschools.org. Not every school is a blue ribbon school in Sarasota. There are many great options. There are parochial schools, private schools. You can put your kids in a lot of good options, but you need to research so that you don't end up buying a piece of real estate that forces your junior high or elementary or high school student to go to a school that does not set them up with the greatest chance to achieve at graduation. So do your research, do it carefully, be diligent, take the time to do it, because it's going to pay dividends every day for as long as you're here. Step 5, I want you to establish your destination by picking 3 possibilities. Narrow it down to just 3. Start with 13, start with 30 if you want to, but narrow it down to your top 3. And then ask yourself important questions. How important is it for you to go to a professional baseball game, a professional hockey game, a professional basketball game? If going to social events, professional sports is important to you, you just made it very easy, because you've got Miami, Orlando, and Tampa that offer a nice variety of professional sports. If that's not important to you, then you don't have to take that in consideration. Do you like to fish? Do you like to fish in the deep blue sea in the Gulf, or do you like to fish closer to shore in the mangroves? Some of the best mangrove fishing in the world is right here. But you want to be in a place not where you have to trailer your boat 1, 2, or 3 hours to get to the water. And then when you get a boat, you have to decide in that destination, can you have your boat, can you have your camper, can you have your trailer parked in the dooryard? That comes into the next one when we talk about picking your neighborhood, but picking the city. Asking yourself, could I picture myself not just being on vacation here, but could I picture myself being here and having a variety of things to do for the next 10 years? Pick your city, pick your destination. Start with 3, work it down to 1. Point number 6 is picking your neighborhood. Now, once you pick a city, keep in mind that every city has hundreds of developments, and those developments are unique. All of them are unique. No 2 are exactly the same. You have homeowners associations, or HOAs. You have CDDs, which are deed restricted communities. That tells you that the color of your house has to be taken in consideration, and someone else will have a say in it. It talks about whether or not you can put a trailer or a boat or a camper in your yard. So having your neighborhood, do you want it gated? Is it important that it be gated to you? Do you need a community swimming pool? Do you like tennis? Do you like pickleball? Do you like shuffleboard? Do you like community aerobics at a large pool with other people around? Or do you want to do your workouts in your own private pool? Those questions will all be part of picking the neighborhood that you want to live in. Now, you see neighborhoods that have HOAs, some HOAs will run you $700 a month. Some neighborhoods have no HOA at all. Some have no deed restrictions at all. But the more amenities that you have in your neighborhood, the more you can expect to pay. So understand, do you want to be a golfer? If you're going to be a golfer and pay for a golf community, you probably don't want to buy and pay into that clubhouse and green fee mandatory expense if you're not a golfer. Know your neighborhood within the city that you pick, and then we'll move on to step number 7. Step number 7 is no joke. It boils down to one word: purge. And I'm not talking about that from what you've eaten. I'm talking about that which you've collected by way of goods over the course of the last 1 or 2 decades of your life. Can you say the word junk? None of us would like to say that we've collected a bunch of junk, but the reality is all of us have junk, and I'm going to define junk, hopefully in a way that we'll all agree. Junk is something that's been in your attic or your basement or in the upper shelf of a closet for more than a year, maybe 2, and you haven't ever touched it, haven't seen it, haven't worn it. Now is the time for you to say, I've got junk and I've got to get rid of it. Why? Because I've never shown one house in Florida yet, as long as I've been a realtor, that has a basement. Now, I lived in New Jersey where I had a full basement under an 1,800 square foot house. That basement had storage shelves. It had 4x8 sheets of plywood with hooks on the wall. It had a highly organized storage unit. The Christmas trees and the Easter season and the Halloween season, it was all there. We had winter clothes and summer clothes. We had closets down in the basement. All we had to do was just empty up the upstairs closet and come down into the hanging closet downstairs. That doesn't exist in Florida, my friend. You need to purge. You will not need more than 2 or 3 sweaters if you come to Sarasota or south. It's just not going to get that cold. You're going to not need a whole bunch of sweatshirts. You're going to need to purge. You decide, what can you live without? My wife and I purged our home 3 times before we moved from New Jersey to Sarasota. And then when we got here, we had one more nasty little blowout disagreement, and we agreed upon, okay, it's going to now be declared mutual junk, and we got rid of it for the 4th time. We finally fit everything into our 2,700 square foot home. My friend, you've got to do the hard work. And in step 7, purge the stuff that you're no longer going to need. The 8th step is probably the most difficult and the most important. It's also something that I just want you to really take very, very seriously. Who are you leaving behind when you move to Florida? Are you going to be able to make it back to see them, or are they going to make it down to see you for Thanksgiving dinner, for Christmas dinner, for Easter dinner? And if the answer is no, then how is that going to land on your emotion? Is it important for you to be to the recital of the music or the dance? And if you can't be there, are you going to be able to handle that emotionally? How often can you travel, or is travel going to be out of the question? The reason I ask for you to take step 8 very seriously is because the emotional preparation is the most difficult and most important of all of the steps that you're going to take. It's going to affect you every day. Do you realize that trained psychologists agree that outside of the death of an immediate member of your family, moving on an interstate move is one of the most stressful things that you will ever do in your entire life. It puts strain on you. I've known people, help them find real estate, and within 12 to 24 months, what they dreamed about all of their life in coming to Florida, they put behind them and moved again back to where they came from because they had not seriously enough considered the emotional trauma and stress of leaving those they love behind. My friend, these are 8 steps that I think if you'll take them seriously, it'll put you in good standing for moving to Florida. If I can help you in that process, my name is Brent Haggerty. I am a licensed realtor. My number is 908-240-8801. I'd love to hear from you, and we can get started in the process. I'd love to set you up on an MLS drip page, and we can worry about exclusive realtorship later. I just want to be your friend and help you get started because I know how important it was for me and my wife to make that move, and I want to help you do the same. Take care. I'll see you real soon. Remember this now. As the wheel turns on the axle, so I believe the very, very best of life and real estate and good time living happens and spins right here in Sarasota. I hope you'll give me a call real soon.